Hello everyone, my name is Mufan Li. I think everyone here will probably go to see the movie, and after watching the movie, they will make some understanding and interpretation of the movie, which may be the charm of the movie. Today, I'd like to take the animated films of the famous Japanese animation master Hayao Miyazaki as an example to analyze the social function of films, that is, the influence of films. As the first point I want to make is the question and thinking that Hayao Miyazaki's films try to reveal. Hayao Miyazaki is a famous Japanese animation director. He is a legend in the field of Japanese animation. He is the first thinker who elevates animation to the height of humanity. He is also the spiritual pillar connecting the past and the future among three generations of Japanese. Hayao Miyazaki's film is to give full play to the characteristics of animation film for future, creating magic, rich imagination of the world at the same time. Also, should he suit with time of all kinds of problems of social reality of thinking, his work is trying to sort his unique form of expression to core people, attracts great importance to the social problems, calling people helpful. I want to take Princess Mononoke as an example.
The story goes that the young Ashita one day found the Bird King in the watchtower. In order to protect the villagers, he was injured in the battle with the Bird King and was cursed. Under the divination, Ashita had to leave the village and go to the west to find a cure. On his way, Ashita meets the high priest. The high priest told him to go to the Kirin forest to find the answer. Ashita and the White Wolf tribe of Shan first met, learned that Shan is White Wolf brought-up girl. She was abandoned by her human parents. She is completely into the Kirin forest. Entomaki is the leader of the Iron Tongue. She told Ashita that she wanted to destroy the goods of the Asian forest. One day, Ashita stops a fight between Pantom and Shan and is accidentally hurt by workers. Peking brings the wounded Ashita, led by Shan, into the unicorn point. Unicorns are both gods of life and death. And then the unicorn saved Ashita. One day, the bull guard wouldn't listen to the White Wolf guards for the glory of the tribe, determined to lead the race and mankind to fight head-on. And Shan leads the White Wolf into the battle. A wounded and blind pig guard leads hunters disguised as white bull warriors to the den of the unicorn. The unicorn sucked the energy of the White Wolf and the bull guards, preventing the bull guards from becoming evil. Meanwhile, an 11th of Pentamaji and the high priest ambushed the unicorn. The unicorn, separated by his head and bodies, sucked the vitality of all things without restriction. Without the head, the unicorn breaks the crucial to devour everything. Ashita and Shan intercepted the high priest and returned the head to the unicorn. When the unicorn fell in the sun, it returned its vitality to the forest. The traces of the battle between man and god could never be disappeared. Ashita tells Shan that she will stay here and accompany with her together. And then Shan returns to the forest and the two say goodbye.
The film, released in the summer of 1997, is set in the Muromachi era of medieval Japan. One of the main reasons for choosing the Muromachi era as the background is that iron-making technology in Japan began to develop during the Muromachi era. The iron industry thrived on the cutting down and destruction of virgin forests in the first place. As the result of this crazy development of the iron industry, humans' caliber of nature began to increase. In Princess Mononoke by Hayao Miyazaki's fantastical imagination, he worries about the contradiction between human and nature and the way of thinking with Motofo. He chooses the character image, respectively, as the representative of the natural and human side. By the emergence of the inevitable contradiction between them and the international war to express the relationship between human and nature and lead to the viewer, how should we treat nature thinking? Next, I want to talk about the impact of movies on audiences and society. In this part, I will talk about the theory and analysis of film's communication effect and what impact will films have on audience and society. First of all, I'd like to talk about the theory and the analysis of film's communication effect. Marshall McLuhan said that the key factor that determines the social form of human history is not politics, economic, and cultural, but medium. Film is a new art integrating music, dance, literature, drama, and many other art forms. Compared with other art forms, film is more expressive and artistic, and has attracted more attention and love from the audience in recent years. As the new form of media, film appeared at the end of the 9th century, which was a technical revolution in the providing a wider range of stories, music, drama, and humor to mass consumers. As the mass medium, movies can satisfy people's economic and elegant way of leisure to the center extent. It enables every original people to enjoy high-level culture. The content of the film can transcend the limitation of time and space and extend to all aspects of life. The audience of the film is even larger. Therefore, films are very representative in terms of communication effects, which deeply affect the audience and the society as the mass medium. Studies on the effects of mass media have been flourishing since the rise of the medium, such as the 1920s. The Penny Foundation for certain studies about movies' influence on teenagers, typical investigation experiments, statistic methods, focusing on the research on film medium actively inform and to persuade the possibility of a message, and for preventing motivation and determination of the film media in the adolescent social prejudice, abuse, and the negative influence of erect stimulation, and so on. The conclusion is that some films do change the attitude of teenagers. They will imitate the images they like in the films to dress up and agree with the views and the behaviors of the images. Therefore, I have reason to believe that movies shows people various situations and different behavior in a very attractive way. So, what I'm going to say is, what impact will films have on audiences and society? First of all, I'd like to ask you a question. What kind of movie is a successful movie? The success of a film lies in the audience's recognition, the most direct expression of which is the audience's recognition and the imitation of the aesthetic view in the film. For example, Princess Monaco and the Village of the Wind received great response and praise after their release. The audience felt the theme and thinking in the film and began to realize the significance of nature for human being and the importance of environmental protection more deeply. Some audience begin to realize that environmental protection is more than a slogan. Perhaps some films are very successful in terms of artistic effect, but the dissemination of negative information on cultural connection and spiritual level also exerts a bad influence on the formation of social cultural environments. From the point of view, the impact of film on society has two sides. For example, some pornographic, bloody, and violent movies bring certain stimulation to the audience and unhealthy and dark influences on the audience's psychology. For example, the American film Genital Service, in which the enjoyed bloody scenes and the psychological setting of extreme characters bring visual stimulation to the audience, thus effectively reducing the audience's sensitivity to blood and violence, and may even have a favorable attitude due to long-term watching. In order to avoid the negative impact of film on the psychology of teenagers who are more vulnerable to psychological influences, the service films are restricted the audience under 18 years old in the USA. Similar films such as the Japanese film The Sailor Mermaid and the Hong Kong film The Golden Lotus have been restricted or banned due to varying degrees of sexual and violent scenes. In conclusion, film plays a more and more important role in people's life and entertainment, and its communication function is also having more influence on the society and the people of this era. The quality of films influences the formation and development of social culture. The central situation of the society is reflected in the films of the same period, and the cultural elements and ideological connotations of the films also affect the individual of an area. I believe that in the future development of mass media and the formation of the social culture, the film will centrally learn from others and shine brilliantly. Okay, here is my reference. That's all. Thank you for your listening.